Hey everyone, so I have another flow feature that I want to show today, which is called Fast Update. This has been around for a while. It was around during the old Cloudflow Designer. It still exists with the new Flow Builder. It's just that they made it slightly more difficult to find, I guess. It's still in the record updates element. And the reason that you'd use one is that if you're trying to update a batch or a set of records in just one simple one simple element. Um, and one of the reasons for doing it as well is to not hit governor limits. Say you use a record update and you're using a loop and going back and forth, chances are you'll hit governor limits a lot more easy because you're iterating a lot more through the flow. When you use a fast update, the purpose is to just update a group of records in one simple swoop, and it's considered a best practice and shouldn't hit governor limits as easily. I'm doing this in a Summer 20 pre-release org, which Summer 20 is not out yet. It's still early May, and it'll be out in a few more weeks. But what I'm using is a record change flow instead of a process builder. So I'm just trying to use all new flow features and um, see how seamless it is to get it to work. So in this example, what I'm going to do is I've got a test account and it has a bunch of contacts under it. I just used data loader. I uploaded a bunch of contacts, and what I'm gonna do, I guess, is if the phone number of an account is updated, to update all those contacts with the same phone number. All right, so let's launch up the flow builder. Let's do a new flow. Once again, this is Summer 20, so I'm going to do a record changed flow. And let's start by adding some of that initial criteria. We're going to do if the record is created or updated, and we're going to do after the record is saved. And our object is account. That first step is done. I'm just going to save this because I like to save often. We'll call it account contact phone number flow. All right, the next step to do is we're gonna have to query for all the detailed contacts under account. So what that'll require is a get records element. We'll call it get all contacts. Start by searching that contact object. And what we want to filter that by is if the account ID is equal to, and in the past where I normally would have used a process builder and passed the account ID to the flow, nowadays that's no longer necessary. You just go to the global variables where you declared your account and then select the account ID. So it definitely saves some time. And as opposed to only the first record, we're going to want all records, and then we'll just automatically store all fields. Huge time saver. Let's connect that first record start element to the get records. And now that we've got all our contacts queried, we're gonna have to basically decide what we want to edit with them. So like I said before, we want to take the account's phone number and update all the contacts with it. So the next step in this process is to use a loop. And I'm just going to call it loop. The collection variable will be populated automatically, and that's because in the previous get records element, you said that you wanted to query all contacts instead of just one. So this is a little new. This used to not be the case, but previously in a loop, you would choose a collection variable and then you would choose a loop variable that you would loop through, and it sort of looks like they got rid of that need. Apparently now, based on what I'm reading, is that you just reference this loop. So this is my first time giving this a shot, so I'm just going to sort of ride with it. I'm going to connect those two elements together. And the next step is to use an assignment. So we're going to drag that out, assign account phone looks like here is where you would reference your S-object variable, which now is just the loop. So I'm going to say loop.phone. I think business phone is applicable. Equals, and then we're going to look for where we want to access that phone number. Since it's just a single phone number that comes from the account, we can go to that under the global variable, search phone, and that is that. Now we need one more assignment, and we need a new collection variable. So what you're going to have to do is go to the manager, click new resource, and select variable. And I'm just going to call this contacts to update. You choose the data type as record, and then once again search for the contact object. Wrong one. And since it's a collection variable, you're going to want to check this off. Allow multiple values. Also check off available for input and output. So we're going to need a second assignment, and what this is doing is taking the other assignment that you just used, that record that you technically just updated the value of, and what you're doing is taking all of those and putting it into a brand new collection, because the final step is going to be just be updating that entire collection. And I think it'll make more sense as I show. So add to collection is what I'll call this. And what you want to do is select the contacts to update, that new collection variable that you just made. Change your operator to add, and then choose that S-object variable that you just used in the previous assignment element, and just populate it and click out of it. You don't need to choose any field from that object or from that record. And now to connect them for each item in the collection, then take that assignment, drag it to the one that adds it to the collection, and then drag this last assignment back to the loop. So basically, it's going to loop through every single detailed contact record from that account, take the account's phone number, update it to the contact's phone number, add it to the collection, and go through it again until it's done. All right, so the last step is to drag out an update records element. This is technically where the fast update happens. So I'm just going to call this updates all contacts. And so you could just leave that first default value selected, and all you really have to do is select that collection variable, contacts to update. And the last step is to take the loop and drag it to that. And what it does is after the last item, aka after the last contact record that it loops through, it's going to update the entire collection. So I'm going to give it a save, activate it, and let's give this a shot. So here I am on the contact record, on the account record. If I look at the related list, none of these contacts have any phone numbers. And if I add a phone number, oh my gosh. Let's take a peek at the related list. As you can see, it successfully worked. So once again, a fast update really isn't that difficult to do. It's considered a best practice because you're updating a entire batch of records, but by using an assignment element as opposed to using an update records element, which would have to do multiple SQL queries in the same sequence, you're significantly preventing yourself from hitting governor limits. So yeah, hope you guys like it. Thanks.